So after making this beauty here, I'm really excited to kind of finish off the bundle, especially with this cute little favor box, treat box, whatever you want to call it. I think it'd be really cute if it was done up and placed on the plates for maybe Thanksgiving or even just a fall themed dinner. So let's take a look at what I have here in front of me. And this is going to go together pretty quick. I did a little pre-prep here just to kind of speed things up and eliminate some of the monotonous things. So you're going to have two pieces. Let's just pretend they look like this, okay? I've already glued on some of the panels and I left off just a few because again, it's kind of repetitive. So on this section here that has the long triangular part, you're going to find the long triangular tab, or not tab, but panel, I should say, I'm sorry. And you're gonna glue that on to the structure here. Just make sure that you have a nice even border going all the way around and get that in place. You're gonna repeat that 6 times. And then the bottom here, we got a nice rectangle, almost looks square, not quite. And we're gonna get that in place again, making sure that we have a nice even border going all the way around. Okay, so that is how that's going to look. And then for this piece here that has this little bottom, you're going to have these pieces here, these trapezoids, I guess. And I already have 5 of them in place. You're going to do this a total of 6 times to get that in there. I also inked the, oops, geez. Also inked the edges on these panels just to kind of have some continuity throughout all 3 of these projects. Okay, so just get that in place. And then as far as inking goes, we've got these little stem pieces here. We've got those inked. And that's pretty much it. Also inked the leaves and did some embossing on them. Now actually, you know what we can do real quick, just to kind of get this out of the way. We have paper veins on this, and I'm going to go ahead and get these glued on to the little leaves here so that they can set, because we're going to end up kind of training these a little bit. So I want to make sure that that sets nicely before we do that. So just kind of get it centered onto your leaf and just push it down. And we'll put that off to the side for a little bit so that it gets a chance to really set. I didn't get enough here on the bottom, so I'm just going to go back and get that tip a little bit. Okay, let's put that off to the side. That looks really nice. And grab our next one here. And just get our glue on there. I'm going to dab this with my finger because it's such a delicate little piece. And I'm only so good with the glue bottle as far as the pressure goes that I want to kind of just make sure that get everything covered nicely and just center that as precisely as you can. That looks good. Okay. So we're just going to put that off to the side, let that really set before we go and train the tip of that, okay? But in the meantime, you can take one of these pieces. Doesn't matter if you start with the top or bottom. I'm just going to start with the top and get all my little tabs nice and folded and ready for action. And this is going to go together pretty quickly as well. It's just a matter of gluing some tabs together. So we're going to take these little triangular tabs here and apply glue to them and just glue them to their neighbors. Again, this is a pretty small piece, not a lot of surface area, so don't go too crazy with the glue because you're going to waste a lot of time waiting for it to set when in fact it doesn't need that much time because it's such a small surface area. So just give it a good squeeze, very minimal glue, and move right on to the next one, and it should hold. It's the larger pieces that we tend to want to be more careful with because they have a tendency to really bend and sway and kind of get out of line. So moving on to the next one. Just get that nice and lined up, give it a squeeze. Again, less glue is more. So don't need that much. All right, next tab here. And I'm still kind of continuing to hold that tab in place. Okay, so moving on to the next one here. I'm just going to connect that nicely. Just get those edges lined up and give it a squeeze. Okay, and moving right along. Next tab. Get that glue right on there, tuck it under, and connect it. There we go. There we go. Okay. All right. Next tab. Let me move that out of the way. And just connect it nicely. Let me bend that a little more. Right there. There we go. Okay, and now we can close it up. And to do that, we have two tabs that we need to glue. So I'm going to start with the bottom one, just to make sure that the bottom is nice and level and even, I guess. Okay, so let's get that in place. There we go. There we go. Give it a squeeze. And all right, now there's one tab left in here. I'm gonna have to go in from the inside, and I'm using the tip of the nozzle to kind of spread that glue thin right up to the edge as best as I can. And that's it. Okay, so that will complete the general structure of it. And now we just have to put the top on, which is already connected. So we'll have to get glue on all these tabs here, one at a time. And I'm gonna work a little bit of that glue out to the very edge so that it's nice and crisp. That little seam there that connects everything. And just give it a good little spread there. There we go. I'm gonna flare these out just a tad and bring that down. Make sure you get it nice and lined up. If you need to, kind of nudge some of the walls in or out, depending on how it's sitting on these sides here. And I'm applying downward force as well to make sure that the tabs are making contact with this green piece here, and then you can flip it over and push down from the inside as well. Okay, and there is your cute little container for your treat. And now we can move on to the top. Just get everything nice and folded at the score marks. Had plenty of time for the panels to dry, and that actually also makes it a lot easier to work with this when it's a little more rigid. Okay, so really all we're doing is the same thing we did with the other side here. We're just dealing with a longer tab, so a little bit more glue, but again, keep it kind of sparse. Don't need a lot. And give that a squeeze, get those sides connected. And again, the less glue you use, the quicker it's going to dry. Obviously you don't want to not get enough on there, but there's a fine line between just enough, too much, and too little. But I think over time you'll kind of start to figure it out, and it'll become second nature to you. There we go, just get those edges aligned, give it a squeeze. This one's a little bit easier to work with because of this triangular area. It's technically a trapezoid, but you know what I mean. Okay, work that glue out to the edge a little bit. You need a little more than that. You can just kind of tell now, I've been doing this for so long, that I just know when I have enough. And I know when I have too much or too little. And I think that also varies depending on the kind of paper you're using, which is why I like to try to, been using American Crafts cardstock for the longest, as long as I can remember. And the quality of the paper has been pretty consistent, so it does make it easier. Okay, there we go. Spread that thin. And you can see that this is actually, it is moving a little bit quicker, because it's almost like I can get 2 fingers in here doing the work instead of just one. Okay, so there we go. And almost there. Get this one going. So if you're, I mean, typically, I don't know, some people have really big Thanksgivings. I'd say on average, well, you could always make them just for the kids, or this would be even a good host or hostess gift too. If you want to just give it a little something without being too extravagant, this would be cute. A little pear, completely fitting for the holiday. Okay. All right, so now, actually what I should have done, I'm going to start on this tab down here. I'm going to glue the bottom one down first. Spread that glue out. Hopefully that other glue stays wet for me. Okay. And get that in place, and then while, yep, that glue is still good. So now I'm just connecting this section here to close everything up. There we go. Okay, great. So that's all good. I can take these tiny little tabs up here and fold them down. Now, one thing I forgot to do here is we do have a little liner that goes inside. So I'm back to the small piece here. I'm just throwing a little bit of glue in the bottom. Grab your little liner and just place it inside. It's going to kind of make it a little sturdier and kind of finish off the bottom, make it look a little more like finished, I guess. Finishing off the bottom to make it look more finished. Brilliant, Leo. All right, so that should slide over nicely to create your little pear. That's a pear. Okay, so now what we need to do is create our little stem. Okay, so we've got this piece here. We're going to take this and we're going to fold it at the score marks. And this part here with the little square, that's going to be our top. And then this part here is actually going to get glued onto this piece here, which will then get glued onto that. So let's just get this glued together. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some glue, apply it onto our little tab here. I put way too much on there, so I'm going to spread that out. Okay, and I'm going to connect it to this side here. Just make sure you get it nice and lined up. You can actually take this and flatten it out and glue it that way, just to make it easier. You get a more precise alignment that way too. Okay, so that's what we have. And then we can take these little tabs up here next to the square, and I'm just going to do some dabbing here. And I'm going to dab that right out to the very edge. And close that up nicely. And sometimes with small areas like this, you might want to put that on your table and Just grab a little dowel, pop it inside to apply pressure that way. There we go. Nice. Very nice. All right, now let's kind of wiggle these tabs here at the bottom a bit just to loosen them up. And we're going to put them through this little square, or this little piece here with the little square cut out. And we're going to glue these tabs to the underside of this piece here to get that to stick. So let me zoom in on this for you a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of glue on that and then fold it over on top of this piece, just like that. Hopefully you can see that, yep. And just do the same thing with the other three. I think I could probably get away with just getting my glue in place. I'm going to spread that out a little bit. I went a little too heavy there, I think. And then just fold the tabs over onto this piece. And that is going to basically weld the stem to this top piece, which is then going to go right on here. So we got a cute little stem for our pear. All right, so what we want to do is I'm going to put glue on just one of these tabs real quick. Okay, and then spread that out. And we're going to glue this on to just that one tab and try to get it on there. Actually, I need a little more glue and I need to get it right out to the very edge. All right, let's go ahead and get that nice and lined up with that one side there. Hopefully you can get your finger up there. Okay, looks like we've got some contact there, so I should be able to pull this out. Let me give that another squeeze. There we go. All right, so I'm going to pull that back and get glue on the remaining tabs here. Okay, and I'm going to just kind of dab that just to make sure that it gets right out to the very edge. That one had way too much. It happens. All right, let's flare these out just a little bit and then close this up. And just do your best to, again, you might need to kind of wiggle this thing around to make sure that it matches up precisely on all the sides here. And it's looking pretty sharp. And I'm just going to kind of hold all the sides down with my fingers here until it sets. Okay, so we've got our stem in place. This little piece here is going to go on the inside just to kind of add some more stability and to polish it off. So just drop that in. You might need to use a dowel or something to kind of nudge it into place, but that's fine. Okay, so that's going to sturdy it up for us. At this point, what we can go ahead and do is put our little stem part in place. You'll notice that there's a little score mark on this, and what you're going to do is we're going to glue that right to the stem. Okay, so now before we do that, we can go ahead and kind of curl this thing a little bit. Just give it a little bit of a, maybe this one goes out, maybe this one goes in. I can kind of maybe even wrap that one around a little bit, just to kind of give it a little bit of added interest. And just put some glue on this part, the smaller part, on the inside of the scored area. And just glue that to the stem like so. And just hold that in place for just a moment, let it set. Okay, and same thing with this, just give it a little curl either way, whichever way you feel like you want to curl it. I'm going to curl it like that. Again, there's a little scored area here, just fold that, and then we're going to get our glue on the inner part there. I don't think you really need to go out to the little round part there, and go on the opposite side and glue that down, and make sure that that fold is on the edge there, on the corner of the stem. And I went a little crazy on the glue there, but that's okay. Okay, so there we go. And then all that's left to do, all right, so now we've got our little leaves here. And what I want to do with the leaves is I'm going to curl these out, okay? And I'm going to take and kind of curl these in a little bit on the sides. So the tip goes out, the sides go in. They don't have to, but I think it's kind of cool. And then we're going to put glue on this tab here and just get that glued right to, I'm going to flatten this out. I'm going to glue this just like this right into that stem area there. And I'm going to just use my dowel to hold that in place until it sets, and then we'll flap it down once it's completely set. And then the only thing left to do really is we're going to add a bow to this using some double-sided tape. You don't have to do that, but I think it'd look really cool if you did. So definitely recommended. Okay, so there's that. Take our other leaf here and get our glue on that little rectangle there. I'm going to dab that, and I'm going to do it flat again. Just pop it right in there. 1 second here. Pop that right in place. I'm going to grab my dowel to kind of help me push this down. To make better contact there, because it's kind of a really, oops, you know what, I forgot to train it. Let me train this thing real quick. There we go. All right, let's try this again. Get that nice and dabbed, and pop it in place here. It does help to do it straight. Let it set and then curl it back. Make sure it's nice and flush up against the stem there. And that's really it. It's a pretty quick project, and definitely very festive, very seasonal, appropriate for the seasons. Okay, so there is our final little pear. Adorable, very cute. Well, there it is. There is our super cute little pear with the nice little leaves and a stem. Very cute. Will look great on a table filled with a few little goodies. And just to kind of finish this off, what we're going to do is take some of this purple ribbon, and with some double-sided tape, which I'm going to run around here, right up against this seam here. We're going to apply that ribbon and just put a nice little bow on the front of it, just to kind of finish it off and make it look really special. So you're welcome to add that if you like. You don't have to, but I hope you do. And if you do make this project, would love to see your version in the official Facebook group. So visit us on Facebook, do a search at the top for Dreaming Tree Group, and join myself and 6,000 plus dreamers that are already sharing their beautiful work with the rest of the community. And if you did enjoy crafting with me, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. And as always, I look forward to crafting with you again.
Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. Live, craft, love, and dream.